Howdy folks, my name's Darren from RC Scale Models, and today I have another kit. Again, this one's from Trumpeter. This is a 135 scale. This is a very large box, a very large kit. It's another one of their trains. I'm not sure how you pronounce this, but I think it's Wehrmacht Locomotive V188. It's a train that was used to move Dora, which is the big railway gun, around. So let's take a look at this one. I do have several trains from Trumpeter, so this was another one to go with my trains. Okay folks, I've had to adjust the camera slightly. It's such a big box and it's really difficult to get in shot, and I don't know how I'm going to do this. So we have the length of the vehicle and train up the top here, so it's 876.2 millimeters, but width 140 millimeters. There's 720 plus parts. Bear in mind that this carriage and the one at the back is identical, so everything is going to be double. So we're going to only take a look at one section of the train. We have all of this CAD work, so pretty cool stuff. You get a massive length of track and base. I don't like the base, but the track is perfectly fine. Like I mentioned, there is two actual trains. You can do this in a civilian version as well. I have seen like a red one, and there's a couple of black ones and whatever, so you don't have to do this in military version. But I'm not sure if the D311 is either the diesel version or the electric diesel, because I know there's a couple of differences, but I'm not sure which is which. So as I say, it's a very sturdy box from Trumpeter. If I can get into this one. Okay, after wrestling with the box, I managed to get it open. So we are greeted with some papers. What's advertisement for what's coming up, obviously the train, which we're going to show now. We have this strange looking vehicle. It's like a I don't know, snow skid hovercraft type thing from the Soviet Union or Soviets. It's a pretty cool vehicle, something completely different. Missile launcher. So it's loaded with plastic. Here's your tracks, here's everything to do with the train. Two train bases, the wheels, suspension. Here are the giant carriages. There's two of these, massive moulded as one part, nicely packaged. So yeah, let's get into this instructions. So here is the paperwork. Standard stuff from Trumpeter is the black and white colour callouts, photocopy type one. So we have these symbols down the bottom. Everything is required just to be wary. Like you may need some nose weight or whatever, not to glue parts. Question, cut parts off. Just be careful. Here is your colour callouts, which we'll take a look at afterwards. So very first section is all your sprues. Good way of checking to make sure everything is there. And then working on the train itself. Bear in mind everything is doubled up pretty much. So we have the wheelhouse, if that's what you call it on a train. I'm not familiar, so but this is the control area of the train. So you have that to build up. It looks like we have some kind of breaker and controls and stuff like that. And you do have colours as you work your way along. They are calling it for it to be flat black, but I'm not sure. And we have a wheel, another box, main bulkhead with a couple of doors. You can obviously have these open or closed. Grab handles, these are the doors as you work your way along. You've got your clear parts as well. They're saying die cut masks. There is a die cut mask within the kit, but I don't know where mine is. I'm sure that we'll come across it. And then once you've done that control section and the bulkhead wall, you've got your main train floor. Inside looks like there's a couple of seats, bench seats, but I'm not sure what they use the train for. It's probably transporting cargo and ammunition around, and obviously they do use it for shunting that giant gun around as well, but I'm not sure what else they use it for. Next is your bumpers. So we have the attachment point for when you're attaching carriages and trains together. We have the main bumper itself, the hoses. We have the bumps going together. We have these sections here, which I'm not sure what they are for. We have some more doors, again calling out for the masks to cover the windows. And then you've got your main train part. Again, you'll be attaching doors. We've got some parts around the window, more windows going in, and your mask lights. We have what looks like window wipers. This part is for the fan by the engine, where the engine engine housing will be. More windows. Your main train part, you've got detail parts to be added to it. Some more stuff to go around, which is fellow etch, I believe, which is this grill stuff. Now we are working on what looks like the bogie system and suspension as you work your way along. These look like lights. Here's your main bogie system, or the gearbox assembly, and you've got some of your wheels attachment. And then we've got more suspension parts being added. You have to make 2 of these. And then we have suspension arms as you work your way down with the main frame. So it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4 like suspension arms, like leaf springs assembly type, plus the 2 ends of the train. So in theory you'd have to make 4 of these, and everything is, like I mentioned, everything is repeated twice because you have to build 2 carriages. And then once that's done, everything will be all sandwiched together. So just make sure you get everything nice and square. We have this part to go in as well, don't forget, which is some kind of lever. Looks like either oil tank or oxygen for the brakes, I'm not sure, but these are your brake assemblies. It could be an air tank for the brakes. And then we have the actual arms for the actual train itself. I'm not 100% sure what they're for. Then we have support brackets going in. More of these attachment points. These are on the outside. Flipping it over, the lower and upper section can be sandwiched together, and then you've got your main train shell over the top of that, so it all boxes it in. Attaching your bumpers at the front, more detail parts like fellow etch for steps and things. Handrails. Looks like we've got 2 types of handrails and steps. So just pick or choose. Trying to work out if the front and the back is different, I'm not sure. And then if you're going to do the base, it's pretty much assembled in several segments, and your track goes in from underneath. The track is pretty good, but I don't like this base assembly because the way they've done the ballast, and you're going to get these lines, and it's very hard to clean up and hide the seam lines. So I won't be using this base, but I will use the track. As the track is pretty simple, it's shown just like it's shown here. You put your track together, and then the actual rail itself just slides straight through. It's very easy. And then you've got your attachment points just to be added, and then you attach your two trains and ready just for display. Here is your photo etch again. I'm not going to get it out of the bag. It's just a circle for your cover for your engine deck, and then you've got a couple of steps. You get two lots of that. Like I mentioned, everything is doubled up. The colour callouts. Here is the main colour that is depicted on the box art. It's got that fancy squiggle line. How would I go about that? I'd probably use something like a Posca pen and draw it on. You do get another option which I can't seem to find any information on, which is basically like a camouflage version. I don't know who this belongs to. I can't find any info on this version. But like I say, you can do civilian trains out there, which I have shown you already. So you don't have to do as a military train. So no further ado, we are going to go straight into plastic. Nicely bubble wrapped in a bubble wrap envelope. This is what I like about Trumpeter and Hobby Boss, those type of companies. They definitely well package their kits to make sure everything doesn't get damaged. I wish other companies would take note. Guess it's going to probably bump up the price a little bit, but I would rather pay a little bit more just for decent packaging than my kit to be damaged at the end of the day. Notices it's gone back into, my previous trains were done in like a grey plastic, but now they've gone back into this yellow colour plastic, like mustardy yellow colour. So there are all your sleepers, and then up the top is your main rail. There is a couple of ejector pins you may have to take care of on the inside. Nope, they've stopped that. That's what these little tabs are for. So it requires a nice clean up and a very good looking track. You get nice wood grain on the sleepers. So once they painted a nice blacky brown colour and a little bit of a wash, dust, they should look really good. Here's your attachment points for the track with the bolt detail. I mentioned in the past, Trumpeter track does work with mini art train stuff, works with this very well. So there was two of these, which is here. In this bag we have two. So we have, this is structural parts and hosing, your fan for your engine area. These are structural parts. Some doors. This is the cover for the fan. More structural parts. The wheel for inside the cab area. Part of your attachment point for attaching carriages and other train parts to it. So here's the quality. Basic parts. Hoses. I will replace them with rubber hose, but I will use the ends. The structural parts. Here are your doors, don't look too bad. Nice bolt detail around the edge. There's the wheel. Here's that section. It has a weird curve to it, it's meant to be like that. It has nice bolt detail around it. Here are a couple of bumps, which are nicely done. Here's part of your bumper. Again, nice chunky bolts. It makes it look a nice industrial heavy train look. So remember, there's two of those. In this one we have another two parts. This looks like the oxygen, the air tanks and the main frame of the actual chassis of the train. Like I mentioned before, everything is doubled up because there's 2 lots. So here's main frame, nicely done. Couple of doors, the other side your air tank. So this doesn't look too bad. Hopefully there isn't many ejector pins on the other side. Nope, not what I can see of. These parts in the centre I believe is the parts you may have to take out. This is where they've done the injection mould. I will check that on the instructions quickly. You have to cut those parts out. Yeah, so each of these holes have got these tabs in the middle. You have to cut all of them out. That is the ejection pins. That's how they managed to make this such a clean piece without horrible pins everywhere. A couple of pins on the inside, but these are 2 halves, no problem. Nicely, and then you have to clean up the outside. Shouldn't be too difficult. So these are more support brackets. Here's the tanks. Look pretty basic, pretty simple. It's going to work. Supports. Another door. Quite slim doors for the train. Remember, there's 2 of these as well. So in these bags are identical. So I'm going to open one because there's, like I keep mentioning, everything is doubled up. So now we have a main bulkhead. We do have a door moulded in. Doors moulded in, sorry I should say. I thought they were separate, but they're not. Here is some bogies and suspension arms by the looks of things. Some structural parts. This is that main control area. I can't remember what this was for. We have some fragile parts underneath there. Why is that covered? They've put some tape just around, just to protect all of those. Let's take this off. So you got all that nice raised detail. Again, they've put foam tape type stuff around it just to protect it. So that's going to take a nice dry brushing and bring that detail up really nicely. And then we have this main chunky large piece, which is basically the floor. You've got some seats to go along here, so this is the centre of the train. This will be your control area for the driver. So once you're going backwards and forwards, you'd have to obviously switch carriages. Again, they've managed to mould it in such a way I can't see that many nasty pins or ejector pins on there. It just shows they use really high quality injection moulding. So there's 2 lots of this, remember. So we have another bag, another 2 sprues. So it seems to be every other bag now is going to be like 2s as you work way along. So there's actually a hell of a lot more parts than I thought. Doesn't look that too difficult of a build, but there's a lot of plastic. So we have 2 of these now. So this is quite fragile as well. Surprised I haven't put anything around these, especially these thin pipes. And here, structural parts. This is to do with your bumper. This is a structural part, so it doesn't look too bad. So now in this one we have a couple of wheels, and this is a suspension, I believe. So yeah, this is your wheel assembly. There's two of these. No, my mistaken. There are four. Oh, there's four of these, but they've done them in two lots of two bags. So two in one bag, and then two in another. So we have your wheels. This is all your suspension and bogie assembly. These are more your bogie assemblies: suspension arms, springs, brakes, pipes. So yeah, nicely done. A couple of fragile parts up there. Looks like handles for the doors. Strangely enough, well I've done it on this sprue. End caps. So it is nicely done. Nice bolt detail everywhere again. Springs don't look too bad. They could probably be replaced with proper springs, but again they've done these tabs around the edge so everything's moulded as one part. Nicely sharp, crisp, and it's going to work. A lot of it's hidden underneath, so I wouldn't worry about it too much. More of that bolt detail, and then the wheels itself, nicely done. So in total there was four of those. Actually, I was going to go through the bag and I found some more of these, and I looked at the instructions. I thought there was four. It actually turns out there's 8 of these. And the ones we looked at previously, which had the more structural parts, I thought there was only 2, but it turns out these are 4 of these. And then the last section of the bags, checking the instructions and check how many I've got. There should be 8 of these, but in 4 bags. So 2, 2, 2, 2. So there is 8 of these in total. So now this makes up the rest of the lower suspension, gearbox, or whatever that would be, whatever that part is. I know it's down by the wheels and axle assembly. It's not part of the motor. I'm not sure. It may be the gearbox. I'm not sure. But we have this leaf springs, more suspension arms and detail parts. These pipes with attachment points. But it is nicely moulded. 2 halves again. You've got these tabs on the end, just to make everything crisp. There's a couple of pins on the inside, but because it's 2 halves, I wouldn't worry about it. Leaf springs look a bit weird, but once they're faced on the inside against the frame, you're not going to worry about it too much. So there is 8 of these as well. So last piece, so these sections here are to do your base. So you have one of these, 2 of these larger ones, some smaller sections. Have a single piece, a couple of ends, but I don't like these pieces anyway. And large pieces, again we have 2 of these train pieces, train bodies. Move the camera out slightly. So here is the large body frame. There's 2 of these, very large chunky plastic, moulded as one How they managed to do this, I don't know, and maintain all this detail. It's clever. That's all I can say. So you have nice vents all on. So you have your windows, nice vent detail, nice bolt detail. Your doors will be going here. Here's the front section of the train. You have a light, like I have previously done on my last train. I will rig it up with lighting. More windows. The other side is exactly the same. So yeah, here's the top. We have a ejection pin here and here to take care of, but that's very easy to do. Here is your fan assembly. So it looks very, very nicely done. It's very thick plastic, especially on this actual train section as well. And in the bottom of the box I did find the masks, which are, I believe, a die cut, and your markings, and I will need to show you the clear parts as well, which is in the bottom of the box. Yeah, so these masks are pre-die cut, which is nice for the windows. And your markings, there isn't a ton of markings, they're going to work. We do have decals for those breakers and control section, but me personally, I would paint all of this and dry brush it and detail it out myself. I wouldn't, especially those ones which are very raised. That's not going to go over those raised sections at all. It's going to look weird and crap. So just definitely paint them on. You'll need these probably, and a couple of these, but that's about it. Very shiny markings though. You wouldn't need many of them though. And then the last parts are the clear. The last piece in this bag is the clear parts, which is nicely wrapped for protection. Again, take note, other manufacturers, even though these are just flat clear windows, but they still continue to make them in bubble wrap, like foam. So we have 2 lots of these, and they're going to be lovely, crystal clear, flat windows, very sharp. I wouldn't complain about these too much. Here is your instructions. You can see straight through them. Doesn't even look like the windows are there. Goes a little bit blurry there, but that's because I'm getting too close to the camera. But that is very good. Nicely done, Trumpeter. So there you are, my friends, another kit from Trumpeter. Good stuff as always, well packaged, nice box, well designed. I think Trumpeter are one of the good manufacturers out there. If you're looking for a particular kit, always go to Trumpeter first, I find, because they generally make a hell of a lot of subjects, and some subjects you wouldn't even thought of, and they have them in stock, and this is like one of them. So yeah, good kit. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you next time.